Hey guys, welcome to our channel. It's the Sushi Sisters. And today we're going to be talking about
Sushi 12.
And Sushi 12 is evaluate how westward expansion impacted the Plains Indians and manifest destiny.
So we hope y'all like this video, and if you do, make sure to like and also subscribe and turn on our post notifications to be notified about whenever we post a new video that has to do with any of the sushi standards or history of the Americas. And I hope if y'all could just comment your favorite part of the video, something you learned, or videos you want us to do in the future, that would be great.
So are you guys excited?
Alright,
let's learn about Sushi 12.
With the video.
Okay, so here's an overview of Sushi 12. So Sushi 12 is evaluate how Western expansion impacted the Plains Indians and fulfilled manifest destiny. So A of Sushi 12 is examine the construction of the Transcontinental Railroad, including the use of immigrant labor. And then B is evaluate how the growth of the Western population and innovations in farming and ranching impacted Plains Indians. And then finally, for C, we have explain the Plains Indians' resistance to Western expansion of the United States and the consequences of their resistance.
So for letter A of the Sushi 12 is examine the construction of the Transcontinental Railroad, including the use of immigrant labor. There were two companies that helped complete the railroad, the Union Pacific and the Central Pacific. The railroad took 6 years in total to finish. In the beginning of the building, most of the workers from both companies were Irish Americans, but the Union Pacific also employed American-born soldiers after the Civil War. However, by the end of the Transcontinental Railroad construction, almost all the workers were Chinese immigrants. All the workers faced many hardships and risks, but the Chinese immigrants faced prejudice and discrimination. Some examples of their hardships versus their white counterpart were that they were forced to find their own housing while the whites were given houses to sleep in. The Chinese immigrants were also given lower wages than white workers.
So next is B, which is evaluate how the growth of the Western population and innovations in farming and ranching impacted Plains Indians. The growth of the Western population and innovations in farming and ranching started increasing rapidly with the building of railroads in 1865. Railroads made it so more products could be grown and transported. Prior to this time, it was very hard for farmers to sell their crops outside of a small area. However, due to railroads, farmers could sell and transport their products all around. During the 1860s, an increasing number of white settlers came to the West for the growing cattle ranching industry. Many of these white settlers moved to the Great Plains, which was the home of a large number of Plains Indians at the time. The growth of the Western population affected the Plains Indians in many ways. First off, the culture of the Plains Indians was affected by the extermination of the buffalo. The buffalo provided many items and necessities for the Plains Indians. For example, food, hides for clothing and shelter, bladders for pouches, gall and blood for paints, bones for utensils, droppings for fuel and heat, and skulls for sacred ceremonies. However, in the early 19th century, white settlers killed off a majority of the buffalo. Another way the Plains Indians were affected was through the spread of disease. Many of the Plains Indians died when they were exposed to the diseases from Western settlers because they were not used to their diseases.
C is explain the Plains Indians' resistance to westward expansion of the United States and the consequences of their resistance. In 1868, the United States government reached an agreement with many of the Plains Indian tribes when they signed the Fort Laramie Treaty. The Fort Laramie Treaty was arranged to bring peace between the whites and the Sioux, who agreed to settle within the Black Hills Reservation in the Dakota Territory. The Great Sioux War of 1876 to 1877 turned into the Battle of Little Bighorn. That resulted in the deaths of most of the United States 7th Cavalry Unit. Even though the Plains Indians won the battle, they still faced insurmountable challenges with the superior numbers and organization of the U.S. Army. The U.S. government challenged the Plains Indians by killing the buffalo, which wiped out the Plains tribe main food supply. While some Plains Indians ran to Canada, most of the surviving Plains tribes were forced to live on the reservations. Sitting Bull, a noted warrior and a Lakota leader, led the coalition of Plains Indians against the U.S. Army. This conflict turned into the Battle of Little Bighorn. The aftermath of this conflict resulted in the U.S. Army pushing some tribes into reservations. However, Sitting Bull moved his people into Canada. After 5 years in Canada, Sitting Bull was unable to feed his tribe, and he reluctantly moved into a reservation.
Okay, and now we have a quiz. Feel free to take out a piece of paper and a pencil if you want to answer these questions, or you can just answer them in your head. So question 1 relates to section A of this sushi. What were the two companies that helped complete the Transcontinental Railroad? A, Union Atlantic and Central Pacific. B, Central Pacific and Union Pacific. C, North Pacific and South Pacific. Or D, Eastern Atlantic and Western Pacific. Okay, and the answer to question 1 is B. All right, now to question 2. Question 2 is, where were most of the immigrants that worked on the railroad from in the beginning of the construction? A, China, B, Canada, C, Ireland, or D, Germany? And the answer for question 2 is C, Ireland. Okay, question 3. So those two questions were from A, and this one's from B. Why did white settlers come to the West? A, the cattle ranching industry. B, the gold rush. C, growing crops. Or D, fishing. And the answer for 3 is A.
Okay, now for question 4. This one's also from section B. What were two ways that the Plain Indians were negatively affected by the growth of Western population? A, disease and loss of crops. B, loss of crops and the extinction of fish in the river. C, extermination of buffalo and loss of crops. Or D, disease and extermination of buffalo. And the answer is D. Okay, now for question 5. This one's also from section C. What was the name of the treaty between the Plains Indians and the U.S. government? A, the Treaty of Versailles. B, Fort Knox Treaty. C, Fort Lemaire Treaty. Or D, the Treaty of Fort Lemaire. And the answer is C. Now for question 6, which is also from section C. What battle did the Great Sioux War lead to? A, the Battle of Little Bighorn. B, the Battle of Lakota. C, Battle at Fort Utah. Or D, Battle of Bunker Hill. And the answer is A. Okay, now we're going to be talking about pictures.
Okay, so for section A, we have a picture of the Transcontinental Railroad being built. And as you can see, it's a lot of the immigrants and they are working on the railroad. And then for B, we have a picture of a Plains Indian hunting a buffalo to show how important the buffalo were to them and how much they relied on them, and yeah.
And so for section C, the first picture shows what the Battle of Little Bighorn looked like and how many deaths there were to the Indians and the U.S. Army. And the second picture is a picture of Sitting Bull, which was the noted warrior and the leader of the Lakota tribe. Hey guys!
Hey guys!
So that was our video on Sushi12. We hope you liked it.
Yeah, again, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe and turn on our post notifications. Let us know what video you want us to do next. I really hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope it helped you learn all about everything you need to know for Sushi 12.
See you guys later.
Bye.